So when money is brought up in regards to the church or Christianity, you quickly get into one of the diciest topics in discussing the faith, and one that you'll get a wide range of opinions on, and a lot of strong opinions on as well. So how does this affect you, and what are your expectations when in regards to tithing, or donating to the church, or more correctly, donating to God? And who am I to tell you about all this? Well, I'm a nobody. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm not a pastor. I'm not trying to get you to join my congregation or donate to any sort of special cause or charity. What I am is what I feel, an average Christian trying to give you exposure if you're curious about the faith and what that entails. And what I'm trying to show you is that Christianity is not something that sets us apart. Christians are not set apart. What we are is part of society, but while we may deal with some of the same struggles and same problems, same issues, and have the same failings as everybody else, we have, because God has provided it to everybody, but we are the ones who take advantage of it, we have a support system that we can lean against and take advantage of. I want to show that to you folks, and to also just basically explore the fact that we are no different from anybody else, because we are all created by God and loved by Him. And one of the things that God does not love is money. It's very clear. It's in the Bible many times. Money is a very difficult thing to kind of categorize with anything else that goes on in our lives, because it's very much a worldly thing. But while it's not something we can take with us, it's not something that really exists in God's kingdom, it is a very real thing in the world, and God is not ignorant of that by any means. The Bible covers money several times, and there's a lot of discussion regarding that, or more or less giving a portion of what you have to God, and that starts all the way back with Adam and Eve, and where that's not a currency thing. It's basically, hey, I have gathered things to myself with my work, whether it be crops or whether it be livestock. How much of this am I setting aside and giving to God, or sacrificing to God as a token of gratitude that He's blessed me with the things in my life and the ability to put forth the effort that I can. What that's taken the form of in society today is money, because we work for our money and we use it. It's very personal to us. We put forth an effort. We dedicate our time and our sweat, our frustrations, oftentimes a lot of stress, time away from home, all in an effort to earn this money that we can do to have a house, have clothes, feed ourselves, provide for our kids, provide for our family. Money is an important thing. Things that you set aside to invest when you retire. So when the topic of taxation comes up, you oftentimes get some very strong opinions about it, because we're talking about someone else taking a share of what we've earned. And everybody's going to have a different opinion. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, or any type of debates. It's just something that exists. The government does take a portion of what we earn for themselves. Now, when you put church on top of it, you have an extra portion. Now, I will say the caveat to that is God was here first, and tithing was around actually before taxes. If you can imagine a time when there was no taxes, tithing, or the expectation of tithing and setting aside what you have, goes all the way back, like I said, to Adam and Eve. So it was really there first. But if you are new to the faith, or if you are growing and trying to take the next step, in Christianity, one of the things that pops up is tithing, and that's a generally what we discuss, and what you'll find is, for the most part, it's 10%. Um, it's 10% of what you have, and that is what is considered appropriate tithing. But what is the expectation for you? I know a lot of folks who will not go to church specifically because of the expectation that you give money. Now, I have never been a part of a church. The good churches I've been to and the bad churches I've been to, the expectation has never been that you have to tithe in order to be there. A lot of what Christianity is all about is bringing people in, but part of that growth, part of that maturity in your faith is starting to understand all the blessings and all of the great things that go on, and the love that has been given to you from God, and that if you are given the opportunities, if you are given the talent, and if you are set up to succeed, whether it be by hard work or chance, part of the way of saying thanks and expressing your gratitude to God is to give back a portion of that money to Him as a way of saying, I appreciate you, I love you, and I want this this part of what I've earned to give that back to you. And most people assume that you're supposed to go back to the church, and the church should be, especially if it's a place that you trust. Church should be one of the primary places that you're looking at to tithe to. But the church isn't necessarily the place you need to give to in order to properly give that money to God. There are plenty of organizations that are focused on doing God's work that I would think that God considers part of that tithing. If you're giving money to a cause that furthers what He's doing and furthers what He expects, it is natural to assume that that's probably what He had in mind. You are giving this money to go to something that pleases God. You can't just send the money up to heaven. You can't Western Union. You can't do a bank transfer up there, and He don't want it up there anyway. What He wants, and what you've seen, what the passages in the Bible will show you, is that He wants that money to be used to do His work. And you have local ministries that work with the poor, work with the homeless. You have local mission works. You have mission work abroad. There are lots of resources out there, and oftentimes a church is a good place to go to find out where those things are, or just, you might know somebody in the community who's involved with some of those things. But what we also run into is the abuse of those funds, and whether in the charities that are out there or in the churches that we go to. We've all heard about, that's one of the main things when you hear about bad things going on in the church. One of the main things is money related. Is somebody is taking that money who's been entrusted with it and using it to spend on dumb stuff. Or and I'm not a big fan of Joel Osteen, but you see a lot of these high roller preachers and pastors out there who are just just rolling in money, and you don't really feel like they understand the real crux of what they're supposed to be doing. The pastor's work is difficult. That whole job in and of itself is one that is just fraught with a lot of challenges. There's if you're doing your job correctly, I think as a pastor, you are constantly inundated with this, being surrounded by death, being surrounded by broken marriages, being surrounded by abuse from the congregation, things that they're dealing with, things that you are going out and investing that time in to look out for. Your flock is probably the best way to put it, but your flock is in need, and lots of people are going through difficult times, and you just have to deal with that a lot of times. And oftentimes, if you're doing that on a small salary, the expectation is that you're doing God's work and you're not doing it for the money. So the wrong impression is oftentimes given when you see folks who are pastors, whether they are part of an independent church or part of a more organized broader group of churches, and you see them and they have personal private jets, very fancy cars, and all these other things. And part of you thinks, if you're really doing God's work, you would be blessed with many things. But at the same time, these are folks that have surrounded themselves with worldly goods and worldly items where, I would love to have nice things in my life, and I do have a lot of nice things. I have definitely been blessed by that, but that's part of what holds me back from being in that role is having a better and more mature understanding that those things don't matter so much, and that instead of having those things, it would be my community and Christianity would be better served if that money went elsewhere to helping folks who are less fortunate than myself. There's a great passage that we'll discuss once I get to it, that Jesus talks to a rich man, and the rich man is looking for, basically an answer to his question, and Jesus's response was basically, be very free with your money, to the point where you're giving everything away and come and follow him. And it's not the answer that he's looking for, and he walks away. I feel that kind of fakeness when I see those things on TV, and I know if I'm feeling that, then if you see those folks in the public eye that have got all this money and they seem to be flaunting it and they seem to be just kind of keeping it to themselves, you're probably getting a worse impression than I am. I want you to know that's not the general thing that goes on. It does happen, and it is something that you need to be careful of. When you join a church, you want to be you want to join a church that's very open about their finances, and one that will allow you to kind of, if you do tithe with them, dictate where exactly you want the funds to go. Do you want it to go to the church mortgage if they have one? Do you want it to go to a special cause that they're doing, if there's some mission work focus that they have? Make sure that those kind of churches are there, because that's where you're going to feel like when you start investing that money, that it's going to something that you believe is right and is serving God right, because it is money that you have earned. It is money that you are giving out. So you want to make sure it's going to the right parts. Once you get to that level of comfort where you do start to feel like you can start tithing and having it go into a place that you believe in. And this is also one of the things, when it doesn't happen, that can be very just very disheartening, and has let people go away and fall away from the church when instances have happened where somebody has abused those finances. Always keep an eye on what's going on. It's the best method for this. All that to be said, don't feel like when you walk into a church that you immediately have to start giving money, or that expectation is there. Many pastors, I think, do a good job of kind of straddling that contact, where yes, we do expect, a good Christian to be giving a sacrifice of some of their earnings to God, and most of the time they couch that as giving that to the church. One of the things I think that has been great recently is the advent of being able to donate online at a lot of churches, because nothing is more uncomfortable than passing that dish around the pews and the chairs. And if you're not in a position, maybe you don't have anything to give that week, or you're not comfortable with giving, is holding that and then passing it to somebody without putting it in there, because the pressure you feel on you at that point is, I have to give. Well, now that we've mostly we've mostly moved away from that with online donations, or just a box where you can drop an envelope in, especially with what's been going on with the country in general, or what's been going on worldwide. Ever since that's been going on, I've seen the plates have disappeared entirely, and I think that's probably for the better, because it keeps people off edge a little bit. Giving should always be done from the heart, with the understanding that you're giving earnestly of yourself. That you're not doing it because you're expected to, but because you want to. And that's probably the mindset that you need to be in. But again, I don't want you to, if you're doing this journey, I don't want this to be a stumbling block for you. You should understand that eventually you probably will be expected to, there will be an expectation that you will have with yourself, to meet this tithing requirement, or this tithing expectation. And it's something that I've struggled with myself for a long time. And I try to tell everybody, I've been a Christian all of my life, and tithing has been one of the hardest things for me to get into. In fact, I put it right in there with discipleship. I do give. I don't think I give enough. I think I should give more. But that's the nature of having flaws, and that's the nature of not being exactly where you want to be, and constantly being a work in progress. I try to give myself enough grace. I try to to work to where I'm giving what I feel like I should give. But oftentimes, like with my discipleship, I feel like I'm falling short on things. So don't think that you're the only person in a sanctuary, or in a room, or in a small group, or wherever it is that you decide to walk indoors, and if you aren't giving anything to the church, that you are the only one there, or that you might be the only one feeling some sort of discomfort surrounding it. Trust me, you're not. In fact, most of the people in there are probably feeling the same way. I'm always kind of floored by the folks who are able to donate freely, especially the folks who don't have a lot of stuff, or who don't have a lot of money of their own, and are scraping to get by, and still manage to set some aside, and set the appropriate amount aside. It's just amazing to see that people are able to do that. That's a level of selflessness that I have not achieved yet. And it will be something that I continue to work on as the years go on. But anyway, I know this has been a difficult topic. I know that maybe I might have come off a little awkward on this, because it is a very awkward topic. And me talking about it, I have a lot more faith or have a lot more respect for pastors when they have to bring it up in their sermons, because they will bring it up periodically. Don't feel like that's forcing you to put some money in the bin. But hey, if you got $5 in your wallet that you were going to spend in the vending machine probably wasn't going to be for food that was going to be very good for you, maybe you pop that in there. Hey, maybe it helps change some kid's life because we put it into a mission work or something. You never know, and that's why it's there. We'll discuss it more, I'm sure, when we're walking through with the Bible and everything. And this video is starting to run a little long, so I pray that you absorb this, and have and don't let it be a non-starter for you as in your walk with Christ, in your walk with the faith. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about tithing, and let me know how it's impacted you in the past, if it's been something that you've been involved with. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I want to continue to get you to come in and view and leave me your thoughts. Thank you very much. God bless y'all, and have a good evening.